This Liberty Sports Update is brought to you by Beacon Credit Union.
All right, Coach. I guess I'll ask the opening statement on playing Missouri, your fifth Power Conference opponent of the year, and how you guys are feeling going on the road again for your first true road game of the year, and what should be a competitive series with Missouri over the next couple of years.
Well, I think going on the road is relative this year just because there's no fans or limited capacity. So the challenge is getting on the plane, making sure you're staying socially distant and safe. So we end up spending a lot of time in the hotel room or in the meeting room, and then at the arena or the venue. So I don't know if that is going to be any different, but the opponent that we're facing presents a humongous challenge. Quanzo Martin is really one of the best guys in college basketball, and he's a fabulous coach. And this year's version of the Tigers can make someone lose sleep. So I'm very concerned about their offensive prowess. They've got a point guard in Xavier Pinson who's playing as well as any PG I've watched this season. And then the wings with the Smiths, and inside they got Tillman. They pose a lot of problems for our defense. Their size, their strength, their athleticism, their quickness, and they play at a pace that is really hard to play against. So, but I like our team, and I think it'll be a great challenge, another opportunity for us to play against a quality opponent and see where we are.
Go ahead, Jermaine.
Well, Coach, again, it's a joy to speak with you today, and thank you for giving us this time. I got to ask you overall, you personally, and looking at your team, how have you guys have been dealing and handling all these COVID issues? Because obviously, when you look around, a lot of games are being postponed or moved around. Overall, how are you guys handling all this madness that's going on with COVID-19?
Thank you, Jermaine. I think we're 6 games in, and I don't know if there's anyone in the country that's played more. So part of that was intentional when we crammed all those early games against high majors in a real small window. But for the most, what's the word I'm looking for? For most of all, well, I feel like we've handled the pandemic well in this sense. I think we've approached it with a great appreciation that we get to play. And I think if you drive in any other lane but that, and you operate out of a complaint instead of a compliment or an appreciation, I think you get in trouble. That's what I think. Maybe you take things for granted in such a way that your disposition isn't one of joy. And for our guys who have fabulous character, I think that's been the mindset, that's been the approach. And even though we're young, I think that's a really mature way to tackle it. Now, as a coach, you're just waiting for the bad news, if you will. I'm not a glass half empty guy, but it could happen to anyone, and it has happened to many. So we're trying to avoid that at all costs, and again, taking our precautions. And I got to give a shout out to our medical staff, Chris Casola, Scott Lawrence, Aaron Schreiner. They've been absolutely tremendous in the way they've navigated our teams through this pandemic.
Go ahead, John.
Coach, you talked about playing on the road, and though it have limited fans or no fans this season with COVID, but this is your first true road game. I know you had the 4 neutral games, but your first and only true road game in the non-con before you get into conference play in January. Is this an experience, even with the limited capacity allowed at other venues, an experience that your young team needs before conference play starts?
Yeah, definitely. I want all the reps we can get against the quality opponents that are out there that are willing to play for our group to get prepared for conference play. Look, Missouri is legit. Now, in the last couple of years, scheduling has been a little difficult for us. So the fact that they were willing to play a series 2-for-1, we had to take it. Now, we took it before we had all those other Power 5 games, but our guys, I think they want to see how we fare against some of the best, and again, the Tigers pose great challenges. If you watch them on tape against Oral Roberts or Oregon or Wichita State, I'm telling you, they play at a breakneck pace, and the MO against us is, we're going to slow the game down, et cetera, and that's really not what we try and do. We just try and value the ball. Yet I think we'll be really challenged against the tempo in which they pursue.
Dane?
Coach, on Thursday you spoke of Keegan McDowell and his character and his leadership has knitted this team in an expedited way of getting them to the point where they are now, and you said he's sacrificed more than a typical person his age would. What has that meant for you to have him on the roster and what he's been able to bring to you guys to open this season?
An unexpected blessing. Keegan, again, you've heard me say this before. John Maxwell says leadership can be summed up in one word, and that's influence. And I think Keegan has influenced our group in such a positive way. His authenticity, his ability to say things that may seem a little bit vulnerable, but necessary in order to get to true growth. I think he's been fabulous. And then on the court, we always thought he was a good player. We never wanted Keegan to leave. And I just think going through the emotions of that separation and the desire to come back and be accepted and loved and valued, I think it's accelerated our team's connection, and I think it's given him a freedom that he's played with that most pursue or most seek, and he's in that lane. Player of the week this week in the ASUN, assist Steven Gonzalez, by the way, and I couldn't be happier for him. He's really been a special gift for us.
Nick?
As a follow-up, you mentioned his game improved last year, and we just didn't get to see it. He looks like he's more confident off the dribble now. He's not just standing in a corner waiting for a shot. It seems like he's more confident now. And is that come because this offense has evolved, where you don't have those big four that you had last year? That there's more distribution, more ability to share the ball and create more shots now?
Yeah, I mean, part of his growth is he went back and watched some Matt Warner game tapes from high school, and obviously he's taken a liking to Warner's game. I think our offense, it's evolved. Eric Johnson's done a great job in helping piece this together, but I think Keegan fits in this offense because by way of what we lost, we needed to find different ways to score. So having some point guards like we do and the shooters that we do, we've tweaked our offense a little bit, and I think Keegan and others have benefited from that.
Nick?
Morning, Coach.
Nick, how are you?
McKay IB has been a lot of fun to watch here early on, and I mean that dunk where he cocked it back the other day. I mean his athleticism looks off the charts. But I want to ask you about his minutes, kind of fluctuating a little bit over the last couple of days. I know you said he had missed a lot of time in preseason too. Are you still trying to kind of keep in mind he's a freshman and just kind of work him in and ease him along some too?
No. I'm trying to send a message that it's a defensive program, not just offensive. And if you see guys with inconsistent minutes, it's probably because they've been a little inconsistent in executing our defensive system. That being said, that dude is special. He's going to have a chance to be one of the best at Liberty. He's really got it all. Now, mind you, I think he spent 28 of his first 33 days in quarantine without having COVID. So he had a much longer runway than the others in terms of getting acclimated into the system, in condition, and to his credit, and he's a wonder. I don't know if you guys have interviewed him yet. He is a wonderful kid. I think the sky is the limit for him, but we're trying to, again, get our group ready for what will be a really competitive conference season. And for us, you got to be really fully committed on that end of the floor. And I'm just trying to say, McKay, I need you to be a little bit better.
Thanks, Coach.
Miss Austin?
Coach, going off of the Keegan McDowell, how did your relationship change, and what was it like when he told you the news of transferring, and how did that affect and maybe help grow your relationship with him as a player coach, or early on, was it a struggle?
You want the real answer?
Mm-hmm.
I was mad. He came in the day after our second scrimmage and said he was leaving, and I was mad. I felt like he had every opportunity. He was shortchanging my belief in him. But I loved him. I loved him, and I love him. So I kept him a part of the team. But it got to the point after the Bahamas, I felt like the practice minutes he was getting was taken away from other guys that were going to be in the program. So we agreed to split. More so, I initiated that. But Keegan stuck around. He played in our low-minute games with the guys that weren't getting as many minutes. And I felt like I missed him. I think he's really good. And there was a real talk. There was a divide in our relationship. And we were on the trip, I think, to Kennesaw. And I told him, man, I think you belong here. Why don't you think about it, pray about it, and see if you want to be back in our program. And I called him, I think 2 days later, and he said his heart hadn't changed and he felt like it was best he was leaving. He was going to Wright State. Well, sometime in the spring, to my surprise, I got a call from him and said he wanted to talk. And we're this close. I mean, this close. Chris Parker was going to commit that day, and then another kid, a transfer, was going to commit within 48 hours. And I knew he was going to commit. And Keegan said, I want to come back. And I said, well, I'll pray about it. And I said, I'll pray about it like a lot of us say, I'll pray about it. Yeah, I'll pray about it, but no way. And I was unsettled that night. I knew what was right, and we didn't need another guard. But I felt like I felt led to invite him back in our program because he deserved an opportunity, and that obedience has paid dividends. But how it changed our relationship, man, this is a long-winded answer. It just deepened our trust in one another, and I really admire Keegan. I don't think at that age many people are willing to take the risk that he took to ask to come back after he had said no when being re-invited. And I feel like for him to do that without any guarantees, I think that's really unique. And I have the utmost respect for him. I really do.
Two more. We have here. John?
Coach, you referenced sometimes it's hard for kids these days to wait, and you've kind of modeled your program here after Coach Bennett up at Virginia, and they've seen the same thing there in Charlottesville, where some kids kind of sit in the shadows, if you will, for a year or two before they get their chance to shine. How difficult, in your opinion, from working with these kids every day, how difficult is it for them to be patient and wait in this day and age where everything is so, fast-paced?
It's uncommon. It's uncommon. It's instant gratification. It's social media comparison. It's I didn't come here to wait. So it's really hard. I think we have a group that is fabulous in its character, but they're still human, especially at that age group that they want to play, they want to contribute, and they have dreams and aspirations as well. I think the proof is in the pudding that if you wait, I heard Matt Campbell say if you fall in love with the process, eventually the process will love you back. You just don't know when. And there's guys in the NBA that we had at Virginia that waited to play, and to their credit, I think that's been honored. So we have those kind of guys, but yeah, it's hard. But I'm thankful that they do wait.
Dame?
Yeah, is Keegan back on scholarship, or did you have to make him earn his way onto scholarship after that?
Yeah, he's on scholarship. Emily, go ahead. Your hand's raised.
Oh no, I'm done. I'm sorry.
Oh, but look, it's raised right there.
Yeah.
It's
I know I didn't. Usually,
Was
Nick
that-
Pierce lowers it, but I guess Steven is just not on it as much.
I thought that was a high five for Coach. I'm sorry.
Matt.
Yeah, that was a high five.
Matt Warner,
So,
do you,
so are you taking ownership of the A-Sun Player of the Week for Keegan? So since you prayed about it and allowed him back on the team, correct?
no.
You're taking credit
No,
for that?
I had zero to do with it other than substituting him in the game. Alan or Matt, do you have a question?
Yeah, let me get you one. I'll let Steven close it out. But let me ask you this. This is the most extended look we've seen of Blake Preston. We saw him just in limited time last year. How have you seen him grow with the maybe more opportunities that he's had in this young season so far?
It's just a matter of time for Blake. Blake is one of the most compliant people you'll ever meet. He really wants to do whatever his team needs to win the game. And I think the more competent he gets, the better we're going to be. And we're rotating those post players a little bit to try and get them all ready. And like we did with Scotty and Mayo, to have a different pitch that we're giving to the other team. So I love Blake. I think he's got a long future with us and a successful one.